Before you, the world was shades of grey, a muted song, a cloudy, listless day. I wandered lost, a compass off its spin, searching for a piece to fit within. I chased the fleeting, grasped at fragile things, built castles out of whispers, hoping wings would sprout and carry me to promised lands, but found only shifting, treacherous sands. Then you arrived, a sunrise in the east, a gentle hand to calm a weary beast. You brought the color back, the vibrant hue, and showed me what a heart could truly do. You are the anchor in my stormy sea, the quiet strength that sets my spirit free. You are the missing lyric to my song, the place where I belong, where I am strong. Not just a want, a hope, a passing whim, but something deeper, rooted deep within. You are the solace, comfort, and the light, the woman that I need, with all my might.
The magnetic pull. Navigating the chemistry of first encounters with a woman who gives all her love. For a man, meeting a woman who gives all her love can be a whirlwind. In those initial moments, the chemistry can feel intoxicating, almost overwhelming. It's a potent cocktail of attention, admiration, and a vulnerability that, at first glance, seems intensely appealing. But beneath the surface, a complex dynamic is already taking shape, one that can ultimately lead to turbulence. So, what exactly is it like for him, this initial experience of being caught in the orbit of a woman prone to excessive attachment? The initial rush, validation and connection. The first encounter often feels like a validation of his worth. He's met with a level of enthusiasm and interest that can be genuinely flattering, especially if he's accustomed to more reserved interactions. She hangs on his every word, mirroring his emotions, and showering him with compliments. This intense focus can be incredibly alluring, feeding a sense of importance and bolstering his ego. He might experience a feeling of instant connection, as if she truly gets him. She seems to understand his needs and desires, offering unwavering support and a willingness to cater to his preferences. This can be particularly seductive for men who yearn for emotional intimacy and haven't found it easily in the past. The subtle warning signs. Intensity and neediness. However, even in those initial moments, there might be subtle cues that hint at a deeper pattern. The intensity of her gaze, the rapid-fire questions meant to probe his deepest thoughts, the slightly desperate need for reassurance. These can manifest as red flags, though they are often dismissed in the initial rush of attraction. He might notice a tinge of neediness in her behavior, a clinging that feels subtly different from genuine affection. The frequent texts, the constant need for updates on his day, the disappointment when he's not readily available, these can start to feel demanding, even suffocating. He might also sense a lack of boundaries. She might share incredibly personal details very early on, or offer unsolicited advice and interventions. This can feel jarring, a violation of the natural pace of a blossoming relationship. The chemistry of imbalance. A magnetic pull with a dark side. The core of the experience lies in the chemistry. He's drawn to her vulnerability and emotional openness, but also subtly repelled by the intensity and potential for codependency. He might find himself subconsciously drawn to the role of protector or rescuer, feeling obligated to meet her needs and soothe her anxieties. This creates a dynamic of imbalance, where he's placed in a position of power and responsibility, while she becomes increasingly dependent on him for validation and happiness. This can be incredibly flattering initially, but it's a foundation built on shaky ground. The long-term implications. A realization of unease. While the initial rush can be powerful, the long-term implications can be unsettling. As the relationship progresses, he might find himself feeling increasingly controlled, suffocated, and drained. Her need for constant reassurance can become exhausting, and her tendency to prioritize his needs over her own can create an uncomfortable sense of guilt and obligation. The initial appeal of being adored and validated can wane as he realizes the depth of her insecurity and the extent to which her happiness relies on him. He might find himself pulling away, creating a vicious cycle of increased neediness and further distance. Ultimately, the experience of meeting a woman who gives all her love is a complex one. It starts with a powerful pull, driven by validation and a perceived instant connection, but can quickly devolve into a dynamic of imbalance and codependency. Recognizing the subtle warning signs in those initial moments is crucial for navigating the relationship responsibly and avoiding the pitfalls of a love that, ultimately, can suffocate both parties involved. Escaping the trap. Recognizing and breaking free from loving too much. We've all heard the romantic ideal. Unconditional love, unwavering devotion. A bond so strong it can weather any storm. But what happens when that ideal morphs into something unhealthy, something that leaves us feeling depleted, anxious, and perpetually chasing a fleeting connection? When love becomes an addiction, a compulsion fueled by pain, fear, and yearning, it's time to acknowledge that we might be giving too much love. This isn't about loving deeply or being compassionate. This is about a pattern of behavior where our self-worth becomes inextricably linked to the approval and validation of another person. It's about prioritizing the needs and desires of someone else, often to the detriment of our own well-being. At its worst, this kind of loving can feel like a potent addiction, a constant craving for connection that mirrors the desperation of a man junkie, strung out on the emotional roller coaster of the relationship. What does this look like in practice? It can manifest in a variety of ways. Fixating on the other person's flaws and trying to fix them. Believing that if you just work hard enough, you can change him, heal his wounds, and unlock his true potential. Staying in unhealthy or even abusive relationships. Justifying bad behavior, minimizing red flags, and clinging to the hope that things will eventually improve. Ignoring your own needs and boundaries. Sacrificing your own happiness, hobbies, and friendships to accommodate the other person's desires. Experiencing intense anxiety and fear of abandonment. Constantly worrying about losing the relationship, leading to obsessive thoughts and controlling behaviors. Feeling empty and incomplete without the other person. Deriving your self-worth solely from the relationship and struggling to feel happy or fulfilled on your own. Why do we fall into this trap? The reasons are complex and often rooted in past experiences. It could stem from childhood trauma or neglect. A lack of consistent love and support can lead to a deep-seated fear of abandonment and a desperate need for validation. Low self-esteem. If we don't value ourselves, we may seek validation from others, believing that their love will make us worthy. The romanticization of self-sacrifice. Society often glorifies women who put others' needs before their own, reinforcing the idea that selflessness is the ultimate virtue. However, recognizing the problem is the first step towards breaking free. Here's how to begin your journey to healthier relationships and a stronger sense of self. Acknowledge the pattern. Honestly assess your relationship history. Do you consistently find yourself in similar situations, prioritizing the needs of others and ignoring your own? Focus on self-care. Rediscover your passions, nurture your friendships, and prioritize activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. Set healthy boundaries. Learn to say no, assert your needs, and protect your emotional well-being. Challenge negative self-talk. Identify and challenge the negative beliefs that fuel your desire for external validation. Embrace independence. Learn to be comfortable in your own company and rely on yourself for happiness and fulfillment. Breaking free from the cycle of giving too much love is not easy. It requires courage, self-awareness, and a willingness to challenge deeply ingrained patterns. But the rewards are immeasurable. By prioritizing our own well-being, we can create healthier, more fulfilling relationships based on mutual respect, love, and genuine connection. We can escape the man-junkie mentality and embrace a life where we are the architects of our own happiness. Put yourself first, redirecting your energy for powerful personal recovery. We often find ourselves caught in a web of concern for others, especially when someone we care about is struggling. We pour our energy, time, and emotions into trying to help them, hoping to see them change and recover. But when that person is resistant, or their recovery is elusive, we're left drained, frustrated, and often feeling powerless. The truth is, as much as we might want to, we can't force someone else to change. We can offer support, encouragement, and resources, but ultimately, their recovery journey is their own. The good news is that while you can't control someone else's path, you have immense power to shape your own. Making your own recovery your first priority means making a conscious decision. You are willing to take the steps necessary to help yourself, no matter what it takes. Perhaps that sounds extreme. Maybe you're thinking, But what about him? What about his needs? Think for a moment about the lengths you would go to in an attempt to make him change, to help him recover. Consider the late nights researching solutions, the conversations you've had, the compromises you've made. Now, imagine redirecting that same powerful force of energy onto yourself. This isn't about being selfish. It's about recognizing where your efforts will yield the most positive results. The magic formula here is that, despite all your hard work and efforts, you can't change him. However, you can, with that same expenditure of energy, profoundly change yourself. So, how do you redirect that energy? Here are a few starting points. Identify your needs. What are you truly longing for? Peace, stability, self-respect? Write them down and prioritize them. Set boundaries. This is crucial. It's about protecting your energy and well-being by clearly defining what you will and will not tolerate. Seek support for yourself. Find a therapist, support group, or trusted friend or family member to confide in and process your emotions. Engage in self-care. This isn't just bubble baths, although those are nice too. It's about consistently engaging in activities that nourish your mind, body, and soul. Think exercise, meditation, creative pursuits, or simply spending time in nature. Focus on your own goals. Refocus your attention on your own aspirations and take actionable steps towards achieving them. This could be anything from career advancement to learning a new skill or pursuing a long-held dream. It's not always easy. Prioritizing your own recovery can feel uncomfortable, especially when you've been conditioned to put others first. You might experience guilt, fear, or even resistance from those who are used to your support. But remember, you deserve to thrive. You deserve to be happy and healthy. By choosing to focus on your own well-being, you're not abandoning the other person. In fact, you're setting a powerful example. You're demonstrating that it's okay to prioritize yourself, and that ultimately, the best thing you can do for others is to be the healthiest, most empowered version of yourself. So, take a deep breath and reclaim your power. Use your energy where it will do the most good, on your own life. The journey of self-recovery may be challenging, but it is undoubtedly worth it. Cultivating your inner garden. Developing spirituality through daily practice, even if God isn't your thing. The word spirituality can be a loaded one. For some, it conjures images of chanting monks, ethereal gurus, or rigid religious doctrines. It might even trigger a visceral reaction, a feeling of discomfort or disbelief. Perhaps the idea of God and all that comes with it feels simplistic, irrelevant, or even naive. You might think, spirituality? That's not for me. But hold on a moment. What if we stripped away the layers of dogma and preconceived notions, and explored the essence of spirituality in a way that resonates with your own unique experience? The truth is, spirituality, at its core, is about connecting with something larger than ourselves, understanding our place in the universe, and cultivating inner peace and meaning. It's about nurturing the inner garden of your well-being, regardless of whether you believe in a higher power. What does spirituality mean, really? This is where things get interesting. Because spirituality is profoundly personal. For some, it might indeed involve a connection with a divine being, prayer, and religious rituals. But for others, it could mean finding meaning in life, searching for purpose beyond the daily grind, connecting with your values, and living authentically. Connecting with nature, immersing yourself in the beauty and wonder of the natural world, feeling a sense of interconnectedness with all living things. Practicing mindfulness, becoming present in the moment, observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment, and cultivating inner stillness. Cultivating compassion and empathy, developing a deeper understanding and connection with others, striving to alleviate suffering, and building meaningful relationships. Engaging in creative expression, finding solace and inspiration through art, music, writing, or any form of creative outlet. Seeking knowledge and wisdom, engaging with philosophical questions, exploring different perspectives, and striving to understand the complexities of the human experience. Why daily practice matters. Regardless of your chosen path, the key to developing your spirituality is daily practice. Just like tending a garden, you need to consistently nurture your inner landscape to see growth and flourishing. This doesn't require hours of meditation or elaborate rituals. It's about weaving small, intentional acts into the fabric of your day that nourish your soul. Here are a few ideas to get you started. Mindful breathing. Take a few moments each morning to focus on your breath, noticing the rise and fall of your chest. This simple practice can help you ground yourself in the present moment and reduce stress. Gratitude journaling. Before bed, write down 3 things you're grateful for. This can shift your perspective towards the positive and cultivate a sense of appreciation for the good things in your life. Acts of kindness. Perform a small act of kindness for someone each day, whether it's holding the door open for a stranger or offering a helping hand to a friend. Nature walks. Spend some time outdoors, observing the beauty of nature and connecting with the natural world. Creative expression. Dedicate even just 15 minutes each day to engage in a creative activity that you enjoy. The journey is the destination. Developing your spirituality is a lifelong journey of self-discovery and growth. There's no right or wrong way to do it, and the path you choose will be uniquely your own. Don't be afraid to experiment, explore different practices, and find what resonates with you. So, even if the idea of God or traditional religion doesn't appeal to you, consider embracing the broader concept of spirituality. It's about cultivating inner peace, finding meaning in your life, and connecting with something larger than yourself, whatever that may be. Start with small daily practices, and watch your inner garden flourish. You might be surprised at the depth and richness that awaits you. The liberating act of letting go. Why solving someone else's problems hurts both of you. We often feel compelled to help those we care about, especially when they are struggling. This instinct is natural and rooted in compassion. We offer advice, research solutions, and even actively intervene, hoping to ease their burden and guide them towards a better path. However, sometimes the most loving thing we can do is to step back and let them navigate their own journey. This isn't about being uncaring or indifferent. It's about acknowledging the inherent capacity within another adult to manage their own life. Let's assume, for a moment, that the individual you're assisting, be it a family member, friend, or partner, possesses the same fundamental ability as you to find a job, secure housing, seek therapy, or attend a support group. They might lack the same level of motivation or drive, but the potential is there. When we consistently take on the role of problem solver, we inadvertently rob them of their agency and personal responsibility. We become the de facto manager of their life, dictating their progress and ultimately shielding them from the consequences of their own choices. This can lead to a dangerous cycle of dependence. Think about it. If you're constantly searching for jobs on their behalf, they are less likely to actively hunt themselves. If you're constantly offering solutions to their anxieties, they are less incentivized to develop their own coping mechanisms. In essence, you're taking on the burden of their life, freeing them from the need to confront their challenges head-on. The consequences of this dynamic can be detrimental for both parties. For the individual being helped, it fosters a sense of learned helplessness and undermines their self-esteem. They may come to rely on you so heavily that they lose confidence in their own abilities. And for you, the helper, the burden of responsibility can be exhausting and ultimately unfulfilling. You're constantly expending energy trying to fix their problems, and when your efforts inevitably fall short, as they often do, because you're not living their life, you're likely to face blame and resentment. After all, you've positioned yourself as the one in charge of their welfare. So, how do you break free from this pattern? The key is to shift from managing and controlling to supporting and empowering. Resist the urge to give unsolicited advice. Instead, ask questions that encourage self-reflection, such as, what are your options in this situation? Or what have you tried already? Offer encouragement and belief in their capabilities. Remind them of their strengths and past successes. Set boundaries. Clearly define the limits of your support. Let them know that you're there for them emotionally, but you won't be solving their problems for them. Focus on enabling them to help themselves. Instead of finding an AA meeting for them, offer to drive them to one and provide moral support. Instead of writing their resume, offer to proofread it and provide constructive feedback. Stepping back and allowing someone to take ownership of their life is not easy. It requires trust, patience, and a willingness to accept that they may not always make the choices you would. However, it's an act of true love and empowerment. By releasing the need to control and manage, you're giving them the space to grow, learn, and ultimately, thrive. You're also freeing yourself from a cycle of responsibility and potential resentment, allowing you to focus on your own well-being and build a healthier, more balanced relationship. The games we play, understanding unhealthy dialogue and breaking free. Have you ever felt like you're stuck in a repetitive, draining conversation with someone, a dialogue that leaves you feeling frustrated and misunderstood? You might be caught in a game, as the concept is understood in transactional analysis, a framework used in psychotherapy. These games, while seemingly innocuous, are actually carefully structured interactions designed to avoid genuine intimacy and keep participants stuck in dysfunctional patterns. Think of it like a well-rehearsed play where both actors know their lines, even if they are not consciously aware of the script. While everyone resorts to games occasionally, unhealthy relationships are often characterized by a constant cycle of these stereotypical responses, preventing any real exchange of feelings or information. Instead, these games allow individuals to deflect responsibility for their emotional well-being and place it squarely on the other person. One common dynamic found in these dysfunctional patterns involves the roles of rescuer, persecutor, and victim. Often, these roles are unconsciously enacted in relationships where one partner is overly invested in the other's well-being, sometimes described as overloving. Let's break down these roles. Rescuer are defined by trying to help. The rescuer often swoops in to solve problems, offer unsolicited advice, or smooth things over. While seemingly benevolent, this behavior can be driven by a need to feel needed and can prevent the victim from taking responsibility for their own actions. Persecutor, defined by trying to blame. The persecutor is quick to criticize, find fault, and assign blame. This role can be a way to avoid taking responsibility for their own feelings and insecurities, projecting them onto the victim. Victim, defined as the one who is blameless and helpless. The victim feels powerless and unable to cope. They often seek out rescuers and persecutors to confirm their sense of inadequacy and maintain the cycle of dependency. The key to understanding these games is that the roles are fluid and interchangeable. In a typical exchange, the same person might cycle through all three roles. Let's imagine a hypothetical scenario. We'll need to develop a script for this to fully illustrate the concept, which we can do in a follow-up. Think of a scenario where one partner is struggling with a habit and the other is trying to help. Why is understanding this important? Recognizing these patterns of interaction is the first step towards breaking free from them. By becoming aware of the roles we play and the scripts we follow, we can begin to challenge these unhealthy dynamics and cultivate more genuine, intimate connections. This requires self-reflection, honesty, and a willingness to take responsibility for our own feelings and actions. Breaking the cycle. Breaking free from these games is not easy, but it is possible. Here are some steps to consider. Self-awareness. Pay attention to your interactions and identify the patterns you're engaging in. Are you constantly rescuing, blaming, or feeling helpless? Communication. Express your needs and feelings directly and assertively, rather than resorting to indirect communication or passive-aggressive behavior. Responsibility. Take responsibility for your own emotions and actions. Stop blaming others for your problems and start taking steps to address them. The games we play in relationships are a significant barrier to genuine connection. By understanding the roles, the motivations, and the potential for change, we can pave the way for healthier, more fulfilling relationships built on honesty, vulnerability, and mutual respect. The unveiling. When facing your own problems becomes your only option. For so long, many of us have become masters of deflection. We meticulously manage the lives of others, control situations to our liking, and engage in intricate games of manipulation, all in an unconscious effort to avoid confronting the behemoth that looms within, our own problems. But what happens when the distractions fade, the games end, and the spotlight shines solely on ourselves? The answer, often, is a stark and perhaps unsettling truth. Stripped of our familiar coping mechanisms, we are left vulnerable, face to face with the pain we've spent years suppressing. This is a pivotal moment, a crossroads where we can choose to return to the familiar comfort of avoidance or embark on a journey of profound self-discovery and healing. Choosing the latter, accepting the challenge of facing our own problems, is rarely easy. It requires courage, vulnerability, and a willingness to dismantle the carefully constructed facades we've erected. It means acknowledging the pain, the insecurities, and the areas where we need to grow. Fortunately, we don't have to navigate this treacherous terrain alone. This is where the power of support comes into play. A strong spiritual practice can provide a bedrock of strength and guidance, helping us connect to something larger than ourselves and offering perspective in the face of adversity. Support groups, like those found in anonymous programs, offer a safe space to share our experiences, learn from others, and realize that we are not alone in our struggles. For some, the guidance of a therapist can be invaluable. A skilled therapist can provide a structured and objective approach to unpacking complex emotions, identifying unhealthy patterns, and developing coping mechanisms. However, therapeutic intervention isn't always necessary. The wisdom and experience of others who have walked a similar path can be equally transformative. In the anonymous programs, for example, the concept of sponsorship allows individuals further along in their recovery journey to guide and support newcomers. This mentorship provides a powerful connection, offering practical advice, emotional support, and a living example of what is possible. Sponsors help their sponsees delve into the depths of their own self-examination, fostering accountability and encouraging honest self-reflection. Ultimately, the journey of self-discovery is a deeply personal one. It requires honesty, patience, and an unwavering commitment to healing and growth. By letting go of the need to manage and control others, we create the space to turn inward and confront the challenges that lie within. And while the process may be uncomfortable, even painful, the rewards are immeasurable. For in facing our own problems, we unlock the potential for a life of greater authenticity, freedom, and lasting peace. End of chapter 4.